what we deliver to them. Correct? So, our today's topic, learner psychology in classrooms, it is not just a theoretical concept, but it's a daily reality in every HEI, higher education institution. What do you all say? So, the energy, attention, enthusiasm, and even the emotional state that a learner, a student brings into the room can either make or break the effectiveness of our teaching. Correct? So, in today's session, we will try to unpack n number of aspects regarding the same. Let's begin with the introduction part. Importance of understanding learner psychology in HEIs. In simple words, recognizing how students think and feel, it can lead to better educational strategies. How? Yes, let us discuss. So, at first, let's all be honest. See, teaching in a higher education classroom, especially today, it's not like how it used to be even just 10 years ago. Correct? Our students today, they are dealing with a world that is extremely fast, correct? Digital and emotionally complex as well at the same time. So, as teachers, if we don't take a moment to understand how our learners are actually thinking, what is motivating them, what is distracting them, that means we are just shooting the arrows in the dark, right? Pointless. See, understanding psychology is something like, if I have to tell it in a tech language, it's something like having a GPS before you start your journey. It tells us where the student is mentally as well as emotionally. Then only we can decide how to take them where they actually need to go academically. Correct? Suppose a student zones out or he or she is daydreaming, probably halfway through your class. I tell to all teachers, please be considerate, right? Don't punish them immediately. It may not always be something out of disinterest they are doing this. Can we think something like this? Maybe it could be because of a cognitive overload. Yes, I tell you. In simple words, cognitive overload means you are trying to pour a gallon of water, maybe 4 to 5 liters of water, into just a half-liter bottle. Yes, please understand the student's brain can't hold or it cannot handle it all at once. It's impossible. Or it is something like unrealistic. See, it's simple, correct? Because we are trying to fit too much into too little space. If we all understand that, what we will do? We can slow down, we can simplify, or even we will try to change our method of delivery, right? That is how psychology informs better teaching strategies. So, in short, I'll tell you, psychology is not just for psychologists. It's a teacher's, mine, and your best friend too, right? Yes. Link between student behavior and effective teaching. In plain language, understanding the behavior patterns will be helping us tailor the teaching methods for maximum impact. Now, let us slowly talk about behavior. See how students act in the class. We all have different experiences, right? Some are quiet, some are excited, some look at us, but they are mild mentally. You all agree with me? But here is the secret. See, behavior is just the visible tip of the iceberg. Beneath that, under that, are their hidden beliefs. They have their own past learning experiences. They have each candidate, they have their attention span issues. Or sometimes uh, they just have fear of failure as well. As educators, if we are observant, these little cues, they will tell us how to respond to your students. Say, if your class looks tired or disinterested after immediately after 30 minutes. Now, we should understand we need a break. Or better still, maybe an interactive question to pull all your students back in. So, distinguished teachers, kindly note teaching does not mean just sticking rigidly to a plan. Teaching means adapting constantly. We have to do that. And behavior of our students gives us all those signals. What should we do? Just think of it like cricket. You don't use the same ball for every batsman. Am I right? Similarly, there is no one size fits all. It is not going to work for all your students. If we can respond to their behavioral cues, it means we are not just delivering the content. We are making sure that it is landing. Okay. Then speaking about outcome. So enhancing the learner engagement, retention, as well as performance. How to apply those psychological insights for improved educational outcomes. Now, this point is the ideal balance. So the result of using all that whatever we have understood. See, when we connect with how students think and respond, how they behave, what will happen? Just simple. Your students get more involved. Correct? They remember better and they even perform better. And that's what we all want. Correct? So just let me try to give you a relatable example. Say, when you convert a theory based topic from a game or into a case study, you can just notice how even those backbenchers they sit up and listen. Why is this happening? That's because engagement skyrockets when students are like the active participants rather than just being inactive or passive listeners. And when their engagement goes up, the retention or withholding of information also automatically improves. They all understand in a better way. Okay. So here learners, they are not just memorizing, they are internalizing. And that's how performance improves. Even there is no need for you to push your students. So yes, using psychology may take some extra effort, but the returns in terms of say better academic results, happier students, or more contented parents and academic institutions as well. Correct? We have to look into that. It's completely worth it. All right. So audience, am I too fast? Are we on the same page? Can I just have a yes or no? Is my explanation too fast? Are we on the same page? Yes. All right, Sujata madam. What about others? Shivdat. Okay. Thank you, sir. All right. Now, let's move on to the respected educators. Before we talk about how to teach innovatively, we must understand whom we are teaching. So I would like to ask you all, can you please share with us who are our learners today? Yes, I hope you can unmute your mic.
Yes, ma'am, they can unmute.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, please. I'm just asking you, who are our learners today? See, I'm not just asking about their names on the attendance sheet.
Our own children's, ma'am. Our own children's.
All right.
That means I'm not saying that our own children in the sense we are the first parent, then secondly we are the teachers. So we are taking care of 1,000 students. They are our children, and we are educating them. Slowly we have to mold them. Slowly we have to take psychologically. We have to understand them.
All right, ma'am. Perfect, Sujata ma'am. Thank you for that. Anybody else? I just asked you a simple question. Who are our learners today? Or who are our students who are sitting in the class? So I was about to tell you, we are not just asking about the names on the attendance sheet, but what kind of learners are there in our classrooms?
Ma'am, they are digital savvy students.
Perfect, sir. Yes. Uh, Kirubaharan, sir. Yes. Thank you for that. All right. Monica ma'am says young adults. Okay. All right. Thanks for all these inputs. You all are right. So, from your inputs, we will understand today's classroom is no longer an universal space. Means we cannot follow something like same for everyone method. Correct? That's what I was trying to tell you in the previous slide also. There is no concept of one size fits all now. It is not working. So the psychological makeup of learners, it has shifted drastically. And now this particular slide, it helps us unbox that reality. Let us start from the first point, diverse backgrounds, experiences and motivations. See, our students today, they don't come from a uniform mold. They bring with them a whole range of backgrounds. We have students, as Sujata ma'am was mentioning, they are from urban side. We have students from rural, socio-economic variations. We have first-gen learners. We have students with multilingual capabilities, and sometimes even trauma or privilege that shape how they respond to us. Correct? And even their motivations also vary. What do I mean by that? Some students, they want placements. That's why they are here into this particular course, whether it is MBA, MCA, whatever it is. Some want knowledge. Correct. And some are there only because of their parental or societal pressure. Suppose, as teachers, if we treat all these learners the same, that means we are missing the whole point. That's why psychological sensitivity, okay, becomes so important. We must design classrooms that acknowledge this diversity, be it we are using it through differentiated instruction or flexible assignments, simply, or just we are listening more to our students. Okay. Then we have Gen Z and alpha traits. So as Kirubaharan sir was telling us, there are tech savvy people. I don't know, sir, whether did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Correct.
All right, sir. Okay, Sujata ma'am says has mentioned something mentees. Yes, ma'am. All right. So they are tech savvy, Gen Z and Alpha generation. They have just low attention span. As well, they are multitaskers. See, we are talking about the elephant in the room. They are our Gen Z, or you can call them as Zoomers. And these students, they or these people, they are born between roughly between 1997 to 2012. And alpha generation, we just call them as the iPad generation. And these people, they are born between 2013 to 25. Okay. They are still not into HEIs now, higher education institutions. Now, when we are speaking about these students, they are practically born with screens in their hands. Do you all agree with me? Yes. What they do is they just swipe before they speak. They are incredibly tech savvy. Yes. But that also means their attention span is very short, just shorter. You may have noticed in the classroom, if your slide doesn't change in 30 seconds, their eyes are on their phones. They multitask constantly. Wondering how? They're just jumping from WhatsApp to YouTube, YouTube to Moodle. So, in a session like this FDP, Faculty Development Program, where we are exploring innovative teaching, we have got to meet them where they are. Means there are n number of tools nowadays, especially after COVID-19, when we started the online teaching. There are n number of platforms, be it Kahoot, Padlet, Mentimeter, You just name it, we have n number of them. So all these are working because they tap into their need for interaction and speed. Sounds about right? Uh, I remember one thing here. I just saw a Microsoft study. They did it on Gen Z. As I told you, people who are born between 1997 to 2012. According to their study, which was done by Microsoft, they said that Gen Z, their attention span of these people, it spans average around 8 seconds only. So I was just wondering, it is less than that of a goldfish. See, that's why we have the term goldfish attention span. You all might be knowing that. That is nothing but it is a mythical idea. Means that a goldfish can only focus on something for about just 9 seconds, it seems. So before getting distracted or before forgetting something, it can only concentrate on something just for 9 seconds. So our Gen Z people, our Gen Z students, their attention span is even shorter than that of a goldfish. Just around 8 seconds. Seriously. Then speaking of a third point, emotional needs, identity exploration, and digital dependence. So this one is definitely important. See, today's learners, they are not just academically stressed. They are emotionally stretched. Many of them in your class, you might be knowing, they are still figuring out their identity, who they are, what they believe in, and where they belong to. Especially social media, it is adding more pressure, be it likes, follows, comparison, fear of missing out. All of this, we don't believe it impacts their confidence, it impacts their self worth, and even willingness to participate in the class. See, plus, we see many students, they are digitally dependent. What do I mean by this? They just feel anxious without their phones, but they still crave for meaningful connections. How? Now, as faculty, our role becomes more and more. It just extends beyond syllabus delivery. Sometimes, just even a kind word. Sujata madam was telling, they are our students. Yes, that kind word or an open door policy can make a world of difference in their study as well as especially in their stressful lives. Coming to need for empathy and inclusivity in classrooms. See, we cannot teach today's students with yesterday's mindset. Our classrooms must become the safe spaces where our students, they feel seen, they feel yes, they are heard, and they should feel I am respected in this class. Correct. And this must be regardless of their gender, background, language, or even their unique learning styles. See, because not all students have a unique learning way. Correct. Some are visual learners, others they grasp better through stories, movement, or some like hands-on practice. So whether it is allowing your students to respond in their own language, or as a teacher you are acknowledging their mental health needs, or just being flexible during their assessment time, means empathy must guide our pedagogy. So, but one thing is clear, correct? Our students, they need more than content. What is it they need? They need connection, they need compassion, as well as they need creativity. So, innovation, after all, it is not just about using technology. It's about understanding psychology. Correct? Yes. Are we clear so far, audience?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Nilesh sir. Yeah, Sujata ma'am. Next, we have 4 key theories, learning theories of learner psychology. Say, if we are talking about innovations in teaching, which is especially rooted in psychology, we cannot skip these foundations. So these four theories, whatever I have chosen, they are like the building blocks of understanding how your students learn. So just think of them as the lenses through which we as educators can view our learner behavior. We can understand what is their motivation and how is it they are responding in the classroom. So let's walk through each of them. I'll try to explain it in a simple way possible. And let us start with the most classic one, behaviorism. Anybody, do you know about this? What is this behaviorism theory? Do you want to give it a try?
Student most of the time they will be physically present, mentally absent.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. That point is definitely right. But this is not that. I'll try to tell you. In simple words, this theory says students they learn through conditioning. Means we have something called rewards, we have something called punishments. You must have seen it in action as well. Suppose if your student submits an assignment on time, you just give them the appreciation, and that becomes a motivator for that particular student. Say, if a student is constantly using their phone in the class and he or she gets warning from you, now that is nothing but the consequence shaping their behavior. So behaviorism is very stimulus response oriented. Now it works well when you want to build discipline, or when you want to encourage participation, especially through reinforcement or strengthening techniques. For example, if you use gamified learning, there you have badges, points, correct? So, but please remember, it focuses only on observable behavior. When we are speaking about behaviorism theory, it is only focusing on the observable behavior, not on their internal thoughts of your students. So just think of those clicker quizzes, leaderboards, what I was trying to speak about, or instant feedback tools. What we have like we have Quizzes, we have Socrative, Slido, then we have Nearpod, Poll Everywhere, and so on. Correct. All these platforms are giving us instant feedback, and that is nothing but behaviorism, which is blended with technology. Next comes the cognitivism. And this is where psychology gets a bit more internal. Because just now I told you the first theory, behaviorism, it is only focusing on the observable behavior and nothing to do with their internal thoughts of your students. But here in cognitivism, we are getting a bit more internal. Now, cognitivism says learning is about what happens inside the mind, how we process, how we store, as well as how we retrieve information. Means it treats learners like information processors. Say, for example, when you explain a concept, maybe using diagrams, analogies, or storytelling, what you are doing, you are helping the brain form such meaningful connections or schemas. It is like scaffolding. You help them move from what they know to what they need to know. Understanding? Now, we also have modern tools like concept mapping, digital mind maps, and even structured PowerPoint storytelling. All these are aligning with the cognitivist strategies. So, for HEIs, cognitivism is great when we design the learning pathways, not just the content. Third one comes my favorite, constructivism. So, this theory says learners build their own understanding based on their experiences. So, instead of telling students what to learn, we create learning environments where they discover, where they discuss, as well as where they will be co creating the knowledge. Now, this is very student centric. We have group discussions, case studies, project based learning. All these are constructivist in nature. And in today's higher education institution classrooms, uh, where we want to shift from passive to active learning. This theory is something like gold. You can think of them like something like breakout rooms in your Zoom, or the collaborative Google Docs, or even those student created podcasts. The whole idea is you are letting your students to do the learning, wherein we are just facilitating the thinking. Fine, that is constructivism. Finally, we have humanism, the heart of education. So, humanistic psychology believes that learning is deeply personal and it should focus on the whole learner, not just cognitive or behavioral aspects, what we discussed previously. Humanism says we should also think of emotional well being, self worth, the personal growth. Suppose if your student is anxious or feeling insecure or is just demotivated, we ought to recognize that no amount of lectures or activities will help. Understanding if your student is just anxious, he or she is feeling insecure, we have to understand that is our duty as teachers, that your lectures or any other activities is not going to help, because your student is not in a position or your student is not emotionally ready to learn. As teachers, when we create safe, empathetic, inclusive spaces, then it means we are adopting a humanistic approach. Nowadays, if you want to correlate with it, you can just think of it like reflective journaling or mental health check-ins, or just using AI, artificial intelligence, to personalize learning journeys. Correct? Or just being available for your students when actually they need you. So, humanism reminds us that at the center of every strategy is a human being. So, all these four theories, they aren't just theory for theory's sake. They are frameworks that help us craft the teaching strategies that actually work, especially in the psychologically complex classrooms of today. They are the compass to guide all our innovations in teaching and learning. Now, this slide addresses what is at the heart of learning. Excuse me, just a moment. Now, this slide addresses what is at the heart of learning. That is the psychological needs of our students. If we don't understand what learners need emotionally and mentally, no amount of innovation will stick. Now, as faculty members, we often plan our lessons with great care, be it slides or giving them examples, involving them in the activities, or even tech tools. But how often do we pause and do we ask ourselves a question: is my student mentally in a place to learn or not? Are we asking it ourselves? So this particular slide, it unpacks the core psychological needs that affect motivation, participation, and performance in our classrooms. Okay, let us start with three big words from self-determination theory: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Sounds heavy? All right. But they are actually very, very simple. Now, autonomy, it means the student feels they have some control over how they learn or what topics they are exploring. In the similar way, competence means they feel capable. They are not overwhelmed by their task. Then relatedness means they feel connected and they are not isolated in the class. Now, why did we speak about all these three things? When these three needs are met, students automatically they feel, yes, we are more engaged. If we design our lessons with some choice, say like topic selection or peer based activities, that means we are supporting autonomy. Then giving regular constructive feedback, it supports competence. Then we also have group tasks or friendly discussions, that is promoting relatedness. Hope you all are understanding what we are discussing. So together, all these are creating a psychologically rich classroom. Don't you all think so? Yes. Next, we have something that every human being needs: a sense of safety and belonging. And according to Maslow's hierarchy, unless these needs are met, higher learning is not just happening at all. So, what does this mean for us? It means our students should feel safe to ask questions. They feel safe to fail. It's okay if your student fails. Or they should feel safe to express themselves. So, this becomes even more crucial, especially in HEIs. Because, yes, all our students, they come from diverse backgrounds, right? So, a judgmental classroom or a rigid classroom, it is just going to shut your learners down. But a welcoming, inclusive space is what is going to open them up. So, innovation in teaching is not, we are not just speaking about digital, it's emotional too. And as teachers, we have to compulsorily understand this at first. Okay. Next point. Here, let us try to be more realistic. See, our smart students won't engage in our class if they don't see why something matters to them. Means they need relevance, they need clarity, and yes, they also need a little recognition, amongst others. Inside your classroom, if you just dump theory without connecting it into the real life scenarios or how should they use it in their career, they will for sure disengage with us. But try to give them an example from their own domain. Say, for example, how a management concept they can apply it in um, Zomato or Swiggy. And now you try how they, and you can just watch them how they are leaning in now. Similarly, if our instructions, if they are vague, obviously it leaves our students confused. So please understand, respected audience, clarity is not optional. It is a psychological need. Correct? And lastly, when students put in effort and we acknowledge it, even a simple well done to your student, it is just going to fuel their engagement. Recognition, if you recognize even their small acts, however small it might be, definitely it is going to build the confidence of your students. Okay. Last point what we have on this slide is addressing anxiety, fear of failure, and digital fatigue. So this is the one we often underestimate. The emotional load your students are carrying. So today's learners, they are anxious about almost everything. So what do I mean by this? About their performance, about their placements, even about failing. And increasingly, they have something known as screen fatigue. Somebody wants to tell me what is screen fatigue? So often we use this word, screen fatigue. What is this? Anybody? Hope I'm audible.
Ma'am, ma'am, always they use the digital things, so they want to go on for that will cause them a sickness.
Correct, sir. Thank you for that. So screen fatigue means students are suffering by the mental and physical strain that which is caused by prolonged exposure to electronic displays. Are we understanding? So what is happening, say after back to back online classes or after digital tasks, their brains are overstimulated. Now what can we do? As teachers, first please recognize it. Don't dismiss their anxiety just as laziness. Don't treat them like that. Why don't you create a buffer time? Why don't you allow them resets? Please encourage mindfulness techniques. So even allowing your students to take a break from screens or trying to give them some flexible deadlines, wherever it is possible, definitely you can give it. And this goes a long way. So teaching is not just about delivering the content, correct? It's about creating an experience. And that includes being emotionally aware. So, when we speak of innovations in HEIs, especially, let's remember innovation is not just about tools and trends. It is about turning into the psychological pulse of your students. See, because only when their needs are met, learning becomes not just possible, but their learning becomes powerful. Okay? And let's also speak about motivation in learning. First one, we have intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Can somebody explain this concept? What is intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation? Yeah, Guru Sharan sir has shared something. When the brain feels tired due to too much screen timings. Correct, sir. No problem, Lissy ma'am. Yeah. Can somebody tell us what is intrinsic and extrinsic motivation? Yes? All right. Now, here we are just trying to start by looking at what is truly driving a student to learn. Is it a spark from within or something from outside? Now, intrinsic motivation is that inner push when students learn because they are enjoying it, they are curious, or they see learning as meaningful. Suppose if a student is exploring coding on their own, maybe because it's fun or it is just purely driven by their own interest, that is intrinsic. On the flip side, we also have extrinsic motivation. It is about external factors like they are studying for marks, awards, or even praise. Like when a student studies only to score high or to just win a medal, correct? That is extrinsic. Now, in our HEI classrooms, striking a balance between the two is key. Too much of either extrinsic or intrinsic, yes, students may lose steam. Now, if we understand where our learners fall on this scale, we can definitely design innovative activities that either tap into their passion or just you're trying to give them a push they need with timely incentives. Correct? Understanding this distinction is foundational if you want to apply the learner psychology practically in your teaching. Next, we have role of goal setting and feedback. So just imagine entering a class and not knowing what is expected. How frustrating would that be? Now, what do I mean by this? Learners, what is happening with our learners? They need goals. They need to be clear, meaningful, and achievable as well. The goals I'm speaking about. When students know what they are working towards, motivation naturally increases. Correct? It's like giving them a destination with a map. Don't you all think so? Yes. But setting goals alone is not enough. We need to guide them uh, like with consistent, constructive feedback. It's not just the typical good or please try harder, not these comments. But what they need is the real feedback that tells them what worked, what did not work, and how they can grow. See, especially in higher education, students are craving autonomy. Now, feedback and goal setting together, they create a learner centered environment. And now, this is where innovation in pedagogy lies. Correct? Moving from traditional grading to formative feedback cycles, which are truly empowering our students. Yes? Okay. Then, impact of rewards, recognition, and peer validation. See, let's admit it. Everyone, even me, not only our students, we like to be, me, you, everybody, we like to be appreciated. Correct? Now, rewards, when they are used wisely, it can boost effort, it can boost their engagement. But it is not just about giving out the certificates, it's about meaningful recognition, acknowledging the progress, the effort, creativity, or even collaboration of your students. So in HEIs, peer validation, it plays a huge role. Don't you all think so? Now, a word of praise from a classmate or being chosen to present in front of peers. This is going to work wonders for their motivation. Just think of how students react when their project is showcased on their department board. Yes, they all feel seen, correct? About which we spoke just 2 slides prior. So, in innovative teaching, we must clear platforms for peer appreciation, for collaborative achievements, and even for personalized acknowledgements. This is going to bring the learner psychology alive, especially in our classrooms. It respects emotions and even social dynamics. All right? Just a minute, audience. Next, let us speak about the fourth point, fostering curiosity and ownership in learning. See, when we speak about curiosity, it is something like the original motivator. See, please understand, our students don't remember our lectures. They remember the problems they solved, questions that intrigued them, and experiences that made them to think. And when we create learning environments that is allowing room for exploration, we are allowing them to ask questions like why, what if, then we are fostering deep engagement. Ownership, as we were discussing previously, you are letting your students take charge. They can choose their project topics and we are not deciding it. They are designing parts of the assessment, or even you are allowing them to create the learning content as well. See, when your students feel it is their learning, the motivation becomes intrinsic instead of extrinsic. Correct? Okay. Emotional and social aspects. Now, let us also talk about the big game changer, emotional intelligence in classrooms. Now, may I know from our audience what is emotional intelligence or EQ, emotional quotient? Is correct, Meena ma'am. Intrinsic means from inside and extrinsic means from outside. All right. So I just asked you, what is EI, emotional intelligence? Suhirta Rani ma'am says emotional balance. All right. Okay, ma'am.
That is managing our own emotions, ma'am.
Okay, Lissy ma'am. All right. Not only ours, but also others. I'll tell you. See, emotional intelligence in classrooms. It is not just about how smart students are, but how well they understand and manage their feelings. That is important. You just imagine a student who gets a low mark, okay, low grade, not because they did not know the answer, but because nervousness or tension took over. Now, emotional intelligence helps students identify that anxiety. They can deal with it and they can bounce back. Now, as educators, when we model emotional intelligence, means I know how to handle my own emotions as well I can handle others' emotions. Suppose inside your institution, inside the college, even when you are not taking the classes, suppose if we stay calm even under pressure, or we are always just being patient, means we are silently teaching our students how to do the same. So it's time that we just it's time to look beyond just IQ, intelligence quotient, and we all start nurturing our EQ, emotional quotient, especially in our teaching practices. See, after all, it's your emotionally strong students are the ones who learn better and who collaborate smarter. It is for sure. Then handling peer pressure, self-esteem, and stress. See, the college life is not just all only about assignments and exams. It is also full of invisible battles. The pressure to fit in, the fear of being judged, the stress of competition, what not. See, one student might be struggling with confidence, while other is crumbling under the weight of expectations. Now, as teachers in HEIs, we need to be their anchors. Simple acts, it could be the encouraging words, giving a struggling student the space to express, or just acknowledging their efforts, all this will go a long way. Now, let us teach them not just how to study, but how to survive. Yes, life is bigger than these classrooms, correct? How to thrive in a social jungle, correct? Even of classrooms outside as well. Okay. Classroom climate. A classroom is not just about the four walls, it's a whole emotional ecosystem. If the vibe there inside the classroom, if it is cold or if it is judgmental, learning obviously shuts down. Unlikely if there is respect, empathy, emotional safety, the magic will happen. Students open up, they share doubts, they are ready to take risks, they help each other grow. Now, as faculty, we are the climate setters. From our tone of voice to how we handle mistakes, everything will matter. So, creating a respectful environment, see, I don't mean that we have to ignore discipline. It means balancing rules with kindness. All right. So if students feel safe with us, correct. If students are feeling safe with Sujata ma'am, if they're feeling safe with Guru Sharan sir, if they're feeling safe with Monica ma'am, correct. What is happening? Learning is becoming a shared journey. It's not a one-way street. Correct? That means you are balancing the rules with kindness. All right? Then promoting collaborative learning and peer bonds. We all work on group projects, correct? So, do you remember your last group project that actually worked well? If yes, I would like to tell some points from there. See, that group projects, wherever you were a part, it was not just about dividing the tasks, Correct? It was about learning from each other, isn't it? See, today's learners need to build soft skills as much as they need the subject knowledge. The collaborative learning, it encourages exactly that, what we said. So it is shaping our shy students. They can find their voice. It also lets those extroverts, they will learn how to listen to others. And more importantly, it builds peer bonds, which act like something like social support structure. So assisting your students through both academics as well as emotions. Wonderful, right? So we as educators must design spaces, whether it is physical or digital, where teamwork is never forced, but it is just flowing naturally. It comes to them. And that's when real learning and real connections are happening. Okay. With all this, we also have common learner challenges in higher education institutions. First and foremost thing is attention deficit and distraction. We have to face it because a couple of times we have already discussed students today are juggling multiple screens, tabs, notifications all at once. And in this age of instant gratification, sustained attention has taken a backseat, and that is for sure. See, it is not that your students are not interested, as we discussed earlier. It's just that their minds are constantly pulled in 100 directions. Now, as educators in HEIs, if we don't innovate our methods, say use more interactive tools, flipped classrooms, or even activity based learning, we will lose them to their devices. That's it. Now, understanding this psychological shift, it is the first step in designing engaging content that actually holds the attention of your students. Then lack of purpose or career clarity. Okay, let me ask you a question. How many of you have met your students who say, sir or ma'am, I don't know why I am even doing this course? How many of us? Your students come to you and they tell you, they admit with you, sir or ma'am, I do not know why I am doing this course. Do we have such kind of students?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, and it is obvious. Almost, if I say it is like 50 to 60% of students are like that, I'm not wrong. Correct? Only Sujata ma'am have such kind of students. Even I have. Yes, Monica ma'am says yes. Guru Sharan sir says yes. Nilesh sir says yes. Of course. Even I have seen my students, even my research scholars. Correct? They are admitting this. Now, I don't treat this as laziness. What we can name this is nothing but a genuine identity crisis. See, the world is changing so fast that students often they feel choked up about which path to choose. They don't see a clear link between what they are learning and where it is taking them. Name any degree, whether it is BE, BTech, MBA, anything. So, in line with learner psychology, we need to bring in career linked learning. We need to bring in mentorship programs, as Sujata ma'am was rightly mentioning it, and those real world applications into our teaching methods. So, when students feel a sense of purpose, their motivation, their engagement, obviously it shoots up. Correct? Then digital overload and burnout. Probably this is the third time we are discussing, but with different names. That's it. This is nothing but a silent killer. Students might appear to be tech savvy and yes, they appear to be quick learners. But behind the screen, many are just exhausted. Constant emails, online classes, back to back assignments, no breathing room at all. They are digitally connected, yes, but they are emotionally drained. And what does burnout lead to? Undoubtedly, disengagement and poor performance in the classroom. So, here is where learner psychology it nudges us to rethink how we are using our digital tools. It's not just for content delivery, but also for the well-being of our learners, of our students, of our scholars. This is what we learned under humanism theory a few slides back, correct? Adopting a humanistic approach. Maybe we need those tech breaks, guided reflection sessions, or even mindfulness, which are built into our timetable itself. All right. Yes, anxiety, procrastination, and imposter syndrome. So it's something like heartbreaking but true. Many bright students, they suffer silently, thinking that no, I'm not good enough. They think they're not good enough. So the pressure to excel, constant comparison, fear of failure, all these are triggering anxiety in those small children. Correct. And this is also leading to procrastination. And don't even get me started on imposter syndrome. Somebody knows about this concept, imposter syndrome? A respected audience? What is imposter syndrome? Yes, Lissy ma'am, what is it? Sorry, I guess you have said yes for the previous listening. All right.
Yes, ma'am. That's my answer for your previous question, ma'am.
Yeah, got it. What about others? No, all right, no problem, Sujata ma'am. Others? Are we aware of this concept known as imposter syndrome? Okay, no problem, Guru Sharan sir. Now, imposter syndrome is where a person doubts their own skills. I have a doubt about my own skills, my own talents, or even my own achievements. So this particular person, they just fear being exposed. What if people doubt me? What if people put me a fraud? Even when there is a clear evidence, yes, that particular person is competent, they still have their own doubt. So this is like more in number happening. It's very real, especially among those high achievers and with our students, professionals in new roles. They often have this imposter syndrome. We also see this with artists, writers, entrepreneurs, so on. So, if our teaching innovations don't account for these emotional undercurrents, we will be addressing only half the learner. See, really, learner psychology, it reminds us to embed empathy, that positive reinforcement, as well as resilience building practices, especially in our classrooms. Please think about it. Then cultural and language barriers in diverse classrooms. See, in HEIs, we often have students from different states, backgrounds, and even different countries. So, no doubt, this is always enriching. I always encourage this. But this also brings challenges to us. See, some students, they hesitate to speak in the class, maybe due to language issues. It's always there, almost in each and every section we have this. Others might feel I'm just out of place. Culturally, yes, it's true. That also happens with them. Now, if we are truly innovating teaching and learning, we need to ensure there is inclusivity. What does that mean? That could mean we are just trying to use simple language. We are using visuals. We are giving multilingual support. Or just we are trying to create a safe, respectful space where each and everyone, every student, your student, they feel they are seen, they are heard. Yes? All right. So, learner psychology helps us understand that learning is not just cognitive, it is deeply social and emotional too. Okay. Then let's also discuss some innovative psychological strategies. See, in our colleges and universities, what is happening? One of the most powerful changes we can bring is helping our students develop a growth mindset. So this particular term, it was introduced by psychologist Carol Dweck. Can somebody tell me what is growth mindset, audience? What is the growth mindset? Do we have a growth mindset? Okay, Sujata ma'am says it is a skill. Okay. So it means growth mindset means believing that intelligence and skill, they are not fixed. Your intelligence, your skills can improve, especially with practice, with good strategies, as well as with your hard work. So just imagine a classroom where students, they don't fear failure, but they see that failure as a chance to learn and grow. Suppose when we give feedback to our students, something like, instead of saying you are wrong, how would it be if I tell to my student, you haven't got it yet? Or instead of saying you're not good at this, you can say you're still learning this skill. You can also swap, like, instead of saying that's a bad answer, what can we say? We can say, let us explore a better approach. Instead of blaming your student, you always make mistakes. Can we tell something like this? You are improving each time you're trying. How does that feel? So this is very, very small but meaningful shift. And this is going to definitely boost the motivation. It will reduce the stress. And also it helps your students to truly believe they can get better with this effort. Okay. Then we have reflective learning, journals and feedback loops. See, learning does not just happen during the lecture. It only happens when your students, they pause, they reflect, and they make meaning of what actually they have absorbed. And this is where reflective learning comes in. Okay. Encouraging your students, you can encourage them, they can maintain the learning journals. They can write something like end of week reflections, what all happened in this particular week. Or they can respond to structured prompts. All these will create metacognitive awareness. That means they are being aware of how they think and how they learn. That is metacognitive awareness. Then adding feedback loops means your students revisit earlier tasks based on your formative input. Means you are just turning the evaluation into a tool for growth rather than just you're not using just for making judgments. Now, over time, what will happen? Students start thinking about how they learn and not just what they learn. This internal dialogue is what will encourage their retention, their agency, and emotional engagement in the process of learning. All right. I'll just wind it up within 10 minutes. Is that fine, audience? Thank you, Monica.
Okay.
Yeah, we are not done yet. Just give me another 5 to 10 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Coming to peer learning and mentorship. Seniors mentoring juniors. Very beautiful concept. See, education is not a solo journey and it should never be. Peer learning and mentorship strategies where senior students, they are guiding their juniors, it can profoundly enrich both the parties, even seniors and juniors. See, for the mentors who are explaining the concepts, it is going to reinforce their own understanding. Yes, if I teach my junior, I'm not going to lose anything, but only it is strengthening my own understanding. Correct? For the mentees, the learning feels relatable and it is less intimidating. And this is also going to align with Vygotsky's zone of proximal development. What does he say? Learners advance best with the help of slightly more capable peers. Yeah, that is known as zone of proximal development. See, beyond academics, peer mentorship, it is going to foster empathy, leadership, and a collaborative classroom culture also. So it is going to break down those hierarchies. It is going to build bridges. It is going to create a vibrant learning community. Okay. Then students today, they crave for stimulation, interaction, as well as relevance. Now, gamification and experiential learning, it is going to bring them these elements inside the classroom. Now, by integrating rewards, challenges, levels, or even simple badges, we are activating the brain's reward centers. Means we are making learning more enjoyable, more memorable. On the other hand, we have experiential methods like simulations. We have field works, role play. All these are definitely going to help your students live that concept. LIVE. So instead of inactively consuming knowledge, passively consuming knowledge, what they do, your students are going to apply it. They will test it and they will learn by doing it, learning through doing. So this aligns perfectly with the psychology of active learning, where students retain more by engaging all their senses, their emotions, as well as decision-making abilities also. Then neuroeducation insights for memory and attention. We now know more about how the brain learns than ever before. And as educators, this is a gold mine. Hope you all agree with me. Now, neuroeducation is going to offer you the practical strategies so that you can enhance the memory and focus of your students. Say, for example, breaking the content into small chunks or incorporating visuals, stories, or using some spaced repetition techniques. All these will align with how brain is encoding, how it is retrieving the information. Even something as simple as incorporating short breaks, that is a powerful thing, or sensory variation, all this is going to reset your learners' attention spans. Correct? See, when we design our lessons with cognitive load and attention cycles in mind, what is it we are doing? We are not just teaching content, but we are optimizing our brain's natural rhythms, especially for deeper as well as for longer lasting learning. Okay. Then we have the last slide here. Kindly bear with me for just 5 minutes. So there are 5 key takeaways. All these may look simple, but they carry profound implications for how we teach, how we connect, and grow with, especially with our students. Every learner is psychologically unique. Yes, we agree that no two students in our classroom have the same learning journey. Correct? Cognitive styles, emotional readiness, prior knowledge, and even classroom anxieties, everything differ. Now, recognizing this psychological diversity means we shift from a one size fits all model to a learner centered mindset. We begin to see students not just as test or exam takers, but as complex individuals with stories, their own strengths, their own struggles. And once we internalize that, our teaching is what is going to become more inclusive, intentional, as well as humane. And that's very, very important. Point number 2, psychological insights improve teaching impact. See, we often rely on content expertise and pedagogy. But integrating psychological insights, it takes our teaching to a higher dimension. Means understanding concepts like motivation theory, memory recall cycles, or emotional triggers, they don't require a psychology degree at all. Just we need a little curiosity and reflection. That's it. So these insights allow us to fine tune how we frame the content. What about time assessments? How we give feedback or how we handle silence in the classroom? All these things, believe me, participants, it is leading to a greater engagement as well as better outcomes in your classrooms. And point number 3, we have Small empathetic shifts, but big learning gains. Empathy is not just an emotional quality, but as we discussed, it's a powerful pedagogical tool. Something as small as acknowledging your students' stress before a deadline, or just offering them some choice in their assignments. All these can significantly shift their attitude as well as their confidence. So neuroscience, it tells us that when our learners are feeling safe, are they feeling understood? Now the brain opens up to process, and it helps them to retain information. So minor adjustments in how we speak, how we respond, or how we design can lead to surprisingly large learning gains. Next, point number 4, faculty must evolve with learner needs. See, today's digital native generation, they learn differently. They think faster, and they expect interactivity, feedback, flexibility. Now, as faculty, we must be lifelong learners ourselves at first. See, whether it is learning to integrate new tools or adapting maybe to hybrid modes, our willingness to evolve is what will keep our classrooms relevant. It keeps our classrooms responsive. So let's all be very clear. Change is not never a threat. It is our greatest ally in education, especially. Correct? Did we stop our education, educating our students with the pandemic? Yes, never. So we tried to find out some other new patterns. We started with online educations. N number of platforms came into existence. Correct? Then point number 5, teaching is both a science and an art. We often debate this, correct? Whether teaching is more about structure or creativity. Now, the truth is, it's both. Science gives us the frameworks, how the brain learns, how attention works, how feedback loops function. Now, art gives us the flair, how we inspire, how we narrate, how we build those emotional connections. The most impactful teachers, they will balance both. Yes, with empathy as their compass, and they have their insight as their map. Correct? So ultimately, the more we understand the psychology of learning, the more intentional, empathetic, and effective we become as educators. So these are not just tips, but they are our mindsets. And when our mindsets shift, so do our students' futures also. All right? Yes. And that brings us to the end of our session. Now I would like to open the floor for